Hey everyone, and welcome to Hollywood Hills once again. Now, if you were following last week's show, you'd have checked out that we have been for 2 weeks now reviewing the last round of the GXCCs out at Dalmas. First show was all about the juniors and the quads. The second show last week was all about the pro motorcycles. And this week would normally have been going forward into the support class. But because the calendar has got super tight, we decided to throw a farm jam in. So last weekend, me and the LiveX lads were out there burning, super hot, super duper hot, but there was a dam there on site as well. This was the next round of the Farm Jams. This was their fourth round of their championship. And remember, this is the first season where Farm Jam has gone on the road, and it has been a spectacular success. And in all honesty, the change of format that they're trying to go for, the pure hair scramble that slots somewhere in between GXCC and EWXC, the guys have really started to tune in how the format works, and we can start to see that everyone is really dialed in. We had hardly any crashes, really good report back, and we had well over the 230 entries. Leon was super happy with that as well. So it looks like we're good to go forward into the last round. Remember guys, that's going to be on the 6th of November at a brand new venue. Watch the space. We'll be talking about that later on. But right now, this is Farm Jam, the Khaki Boss, Middleburg Dam, round number 4 of Farm Jam 2021. Enjoy.
All this Farm Jam racing action, as always, brought to you by Vans Racing and Subaru Nelspruit. So the long-awaited round number 4 of the Farm Jams in 2021 and the incredible venue of Middleburg Dam hosting us for the Khaki Boss event. Leon takes us through what's happening in the morning.
Okay, the kids are going out on a 13k loop. They starts out on the beach, so for the spectators that's going to be awesome. They'll be going out into the mountains doing open flowy sections and then coming back over the copy at the back here. The main loop is 34k's. That's going to be for the ladies and Pro 85s going out this morning. They'll have a nice open flowy cut area for them to ride. It's going to be spectacular.
The morning session was going to be spectacular. Everyone was going to be remembering starting on the beach of the Middleburg Dam. It was cool to see a couple of spectators out there as well, and the morning session skirted straight across the edge of the pits, and before the kids turned up to the right and into the copies. The Pro 85s kicked off things as they went out there to do the chase down. Just over 10 guys going out the queue, and then in the ladies, a little bit of whiskey throttle coming off the line. But remember, ladies gave us one of the biggest Farm Jam entries we have ever seen. On the tour, it's been all about Catherine Mostert, but out the gate, Carla Niebuhr got her nose ahead. She'd be leading into the rocks, but we know that Mostert is the queen when it comes to the tech. The ladies would have a 2-hour racing format. Back on the line, it was all about our juniors, with the junior 85s giving us well over 25 kids in the queue. Hole shots were going to be key, and as always, Bruno Niebuhr getting his nose ahead for the Rubine Racing squad. He would be trying to stretch his legs out, because on the Farm Jam tour, there's 1 or 2 lads that can get close to him. For the juniors, it was a 13-kilometer racing loop, so it was going to be 2 laps of racing with around about 6 or 7 laps on the cards. The junior 65s was a huge story. Jaden Alce getting a big pinner going. He is the kid to beat on this category of racing at the moment, and he showed it with a massive lead before going out into the rocks and the mountains. A wonderful mixture for the juniors and the pros as well, with a nice 40-60 split of open and tech. But even though it was tech, it wasn't too tech. On the 50cc gate, it was all about Derek Milan hanging off the back of his little 50, gripping it and ripping it to get his big hole shot. Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen, normally so good off the gate, bogged down this time and would only come out of the hole shot queue in a number 5. He would spend lap number 1, plowing the traffic. The terrain out here at the Khaki Boss round number 4 of the Farm Jam event is something to behold. To race on the edges of a dam and up into the mountains, it was just stunning. And at the tail end of winter, it was a little bit dry, a little bit dusty, but every time you came down to the water, all riders said they got filled with that joy and hope once again. Sometimes going and dipping a toe in the water just to cool themselves off before they carried on with their racing format. 2 hours out in the field in the morning session before the pros got out there in the morning meant the juniors were going to be busy. Laps, ticking the boxes, and staying hydrated were the key to having a good run of it. We start things out with our review going forward into our 50cc event, where we saw some banging racing. Remember, all these kids are starting to really get used to the new racing format of Farm Jams that's been rolled out in 2021, and the feedback we've been getting is absolutely spectacular. A nice, even mixture of a little bit of flow, a little bit of tech, very little high speeds, but we're starting to see everyone really enjoy it. We had almost 100% finishing rate here at the Khaki Boss event, and the feedback was mega. On the 50cc gate, we started to see some new names coming forward. Declan Richards has started to put his name into the hat as a bit of a player. Number 5 here doesn't really show what he's capable of. He can definitely run top 3s. Johannes Jacobus got himself up there inside of a number 4 as well. One of his best ever rides. For Wilco Deploy, he's a high speed, hanging off the back pinner, riding out of Rubine Racing. The tech slowed him down a little bit, and he made up all of his time on the flatland stuff. That's why he walks away with a number 3 spot this time around, but he is still in the top 3 hunt for the championship with just 1 round to go. His good buddy who got the big hole shot, that's Derek Milan. They were dicing it out all day long for that number 2 spot, but eventually Derek Milan coming out on top, just edging out on Wilco. Milan has spent most of the season coming back from his late season and early season injuries, and he looks to be practically up to full speed again. For Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen, the kid we call the walking hole shot, he didn't get it this time around, but he dropped the hammer on the field and passed everyone by the end of loop number 1. So it only took him 13 kilometers to get his nose in front, and he never looked back. Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen now looking like a threat as we go forward into the final run for the championship. He's had a bit of an up and down season, but when he's firing, the kid is unstoppable. Jean-Luc van der Westhuizen for Vans, Husqvarna Racing on top once again at the dam. You'll be happy with that one. Here's confirmation of the top 6 runners. Jean-Luc on the top step. Derek Milan, Wilco Deploy, Johannes Jacobus, Declan Richards and DC Daniel rounding out our pinners, running the top 6 numbers. On the stacked 65cc gate, it was a big story between Ben van Schalkwijk and Matthew Mayer. These guys were duking it out all day long to see who was going to walk away with the 5 and the 6. Ben van Schalkwijk this time around having to bow out of it and down to a number 6. Matthew Mayer starting to build in speed and confidence as the season runs a little bit deeper. The Gas Kid up to a number 5 this time around on the J113. Hannes de Beer getting himself up there to run a number 4 at round number 4 of the Farm Jams. Absolutely loved the mixed and varied terrain to get himself up there. Werner Clanhams also starting to become a kid to watch out for, a massive threat. Seems to have picked up the pace since running out there and getting picked up by the big squad of Rubine Racing. 3rd place is going to be a huge story, always on the box. And GJ Kutsia, very strong. Often able to run close off the gate. He just fades a little bit towards the end, but I'm starting to see a little bit of form and fitness coming out of GJ. Further we've gone into the 2021 Championship Tour, the more consistent he has become. A very much rounded rider, able to pin it, grip it and rip it, and hop the rocks. Jaden Alslow is in a class of his own. On every single tour, he is the kid to beat. On the 65cc gate, he's showing no chinks in the armor right now. High speed and rocks, he's able to get it all done. Some aggressive passes out there to make sure that no one was going to be slowing his roll. And it was a standout runaway win on the 65cc gate at round number 4 of the Farm Jams for Jaden Els, who was standing head and shoulders at the top of the gate right now. Confirmation of Els on top and the runners inside the top 6. Kutsia, Kleinums, De Beer, Meyer and Van Skalkwyk. These are the kids duking it out for the championship, but they are all chasing down on Jaden Els, a would-be standout champion. The final gate and the kids that opened up our junior racing loop on the 13K morning session. A number 6 ride coming in from Declan Flynn, with Trompie van der Heerve getting himself up there inside of the coveted top 5. That's where you start scoring the big numbers on the page. Paulus van Niekerk inside of a number 4, and then Rhys Katsivas. Katsivas is so strong in this format of racing, and it's one of the standout events. He said he was absolutely buzzing, loved the racing setup and racing format. Sean Katsivas was a little bit further up the road there, running in the number 2 spot, showing how strong the Katsivas crew are when it comes to Farm Jam racing. Very much a family affair. But the whole shot and the fastest laps throughout the day, it was all about Bruno Niebuhr. He had almost the perfect event. He went fastest on every single lap. He took the overall win. He took the overall junior event as well as the big checkers once again. Bruno Niebuhr back on top for Rubine Racing, and he'll be remembering round number 4 as the moment that the pendulum swung and the championship started to shine a light on him. Confirmation of the top 6, Niebuhr, Katsivas and Van Niekerk inside the top 4. Onto the big loop, and that was just over 34 kilometers for our ladies. The story was massive gates, in fact a record entry for our ladies. Monique Lombard was out there on the little Yamaha. Up the road from her was Zaria Farid, who battled a little bit in the rocks but kept it going, kept the flow on and kept those wheels turning no matter what. Zelda Mayberg, who was inside the top 3 for the championship, had a bit of a rough event this time around. Could not get those little legs working on the rocks, and she had to bow and take a number 4 finish. Chantal Kirstein showed incredible form at this round. We haven't seen her racing for a while now, but she came back onto the box and smashed her way up to a number 3 spot. She said the rocks were not a problem, got perfect traction and a good hookup set on her wagon. The whole shot was all about Colin Niebuhr in the morning for the Rubine Racing squad, but she said the rocks were her undoing. She could make up a ton of time in the flatlands and more open, high-speed sections on her 350 machine, but she was beaten out to a number 2 spot by the rock hopper that is Catherine Mostert. Catherine said this was custom made for her and her Sherco. She got a good run going, a good flow going, and it was early on lap number 1 that she saw clear air and made the pass. But she said the temperatures, even in the morning, cranked up way high into the 30s. And it was incredible to see the flag and be able to actually roll things off and walk away with another win at round number 4, the Farm Jams. Mostert on top of them, confirmed ahead of Niebuhr, Kirstein, Mayberg, Farid and Lombard. And for our Pro 85cc Minis, these are the kids that are about to break out and go up the road into the main track. A lot of these kids saying goodbye to juniors as we go forward into 2022. Tristan Smith had a great run of things as well to break his way inside of the top 6. Just over 10 pros going out there this time around. Number 5 was Stefan Kruger. He had a couple of fallovers, as did many of the kids as well, but still credited himself with a number 5 ride. Ruan Kruger was getting the job done inside of a number 4, chasing down onto the back wheel of the top 3, and these were the kids that were dominant. Loan LaRue getting it done out there into a number 3 spot. Caden Robert getting the whole shot off his gate and getting his best ever Farm Jam finish for the Robert Co crew into a number 2 spot, but it was Big Mig, Miguel Cavina, who absolutely hammered the nail. This guy is a star in the making. He is ripping the bars off at the moment in the 85 Pro gate until he moves up next season. It sounds like he is going straight forward into the high school category. Watch out, all the kids racing on the 125s. But right now, the story is all about Farm Jam and the kid to beat, the J108, Big Mig, Miguel da Silva on the tippy top step once again as he came home from the beach. So Mig getting it done once again. Caden Robert, a standout ride, really found the track that suited his style. Takes his highest finish in a number 2 spot ahead of LaRue. Kruger, another Kruger, that's Stefan in a number 5 and Tristan Smith in a number 6. That was the morning session where a 2-hour racing format filled up all of the track. A small break and then we rolled forward and stacked the gates for the main event, the Pro Motorcycle categories for the afternoon session. Leon and the entire Farm Jam crew were super pumped to see massive entries, just under 250 crazies going out there. across the entire day of racing. We started things out in the afternoon session with the Pro A category, where everyone was chasing down on the two pinners. On the numbers, it's all about the Devastator, Devon Smith, and Ryan Peltzer. Those were going to be the guys duking it out for the overall win on the day, and they would see the first flag drop. The rest was simply going to try and survive their 4-lap racing format in the sweltering heat, but the amazing terrain of the Middleburg Dam and the Khaki Boss event that is round 4 of the Farm Jam Tour in 2021. On the line, it was tension. Everyone knew hole shot was key. On the first flag drop then, it was going to be all about Peltzer and the Devastator, banging bars straight out the gate as expected. It was the Devastator that put his nose out front, with the rest doing the chase down, trying to figure out the flow of lap number 1. Remember, 34 kilometers, 4 laps on the count. As we went through the rest of the gates, it was clear that the spectacle of the beach start was going to be something that everyone would be looking forward to for the rest of the day, as well as going forward into the next couple of seasons of racing. A spectacle that hasn't been seen in South African cross-country or off-road racing for many, many years. As we worked our way down the gates, it was going to be good to see everyone finding their flow. A nice open track as well, with not too many chances of bottlenecks, meant that the track was going to be able to flow quite nicely. When we went up onto the copies though, it was going to be a different story. Line choice was going to be key. The flatlands lulling the riders in the early morning session into a false sense of security, because just 3Ks out, they were going to start climbing up the mountains into the rocks and the copies, and that's where line choice was going to set the tone for the rest of the day. The riders would have a good chance to come back down the mountain and have around about 2 or 3 Ks to relax and get their arms back to where they needed to be before they rolled through the pits at the end of each lap. But the morning session was just a thing to behold. By the time the final gates and the final flags dropped, there were well over 160 riders out there on the main 134-kilometer racing loop. Riders did their best to get the big hole shot and try and break away from their competitors. 1 or 2 got it right, 1 or 2 got it wrong, and 1 or 2 put on a big show for the spectators on the sideline. For Farm Jam, Leon and the crew looked pretty happy with how the day was going. Tell me about the numbers as well. We've obviously come to the last quarter of the season, but you've already gone over 230 entries. That's great for Farm Jam.
The support's been unbelievable from the people out riding Farm Jam and wanting to ride races, so we are happy with that. It's going to be an awesome day.
The track was all about the flow. Get it right and you're a rock star. Get it wrong and you're going to get hooked up on the rocks. But there was plenty of line choice as the day went on though. A little bit of dirt and roofs got dragged onto the rocks, made things a little bit slippery, and it was hot up there on the mountains. When you got back down onto the lowlands, the temptation to simply jump into the lake must have been something tough to fight off. Each lap, the crews would come through the pits. And as we reviewed all the categories, starting things out with the S3 novices, Nathan Milan got himself up there inside of a number 6, as he was able to find his flow on the track. Tristan Beauchamps in a number 5, and Raymond Language, who was doing double duties this season to get himself used to his big jump up going forward into the pro event. He'd raced on the juniors in the morning and on the pro event in the afternoon. Up the road was one of our standout riders, Molo Kutsa, getting a good run of form going in the second half of the championship to get a number 3 spot. And he found the mixed terrain perfectly suited to his style. Big Ben Nell was getting it down up there into a number 2 spot. Ben is in great form as well. as he once again sees the podium. Number 2 spot will see him challenge for a top 5 running at the end of this championship as well. Up the road, though, it was Jaco Forster on one of the old WRs racing out there. He got a nice flow of form. A great start. He did manage to get himself up there and eventually walk away with a solid handful of laps. By the time he saw the flag, he'd be exhausted, but super pumped with his style and run out at round number 4. Forster on top ahead of Ben then. Molo Kutzer into a number 3 spot. The lighty of the category, Language ahead of Borges and Milan. Climbing the ladder and up the road we go. The S2 novices starting to roll out some slightly bigger bikes. Most of these guys out there on 250 smokers or 350 thumpers. Schubert Schoeman was there, Kyle Barnard, Dean Galau, after going down hard on the rocks on lap number 1, managed to just about survive the day into a number 4 spot. Remember, he's one of our championship runners off this gate. 4th is going to hurt him with his championship aspirations though, but he will have 1 round to bounce back. Bronson Engelbrecht robbed some points away from him, taking a number 3 spot this time around, and his highest finish of the gate. Up the road from him were the guys that are now dicing it out for the championship. Francois Fasaki has been near on unstoppable and ever consistent as well, not finishing outside the top 3 the whole way through the 2021 championship. With a bad result for Dean Galau, Francois Fasaki is for the first time going to have a little bit of elbow room. But it's the Johnny come lately who is large and in charge right now, Kyle Potgieter, missing out on round number 1. But since then, he has been a revelation. For the first time racing with us on the Farm Jam Full Tour. He is an incredible extreme and off-road racer, a former top 10 roof rider, and he is starting to find his flow on these sprint events. 1 or 2 small mistakes, but nothing that Potgieter couldn't overcome. His lead was so great, he had a little bit of a buffer that he could walk away and make 1 or 2 little guffs and still get the flag. He was super tired at the end of this one, but this one was well earned. And the top step will taste great for Kyle once again as he beats out on Fasaki and Engelbrecht. His good buddy Dean Galau down there in a number 4 spot, nursing some bruises ahead of Barnard and Schoeman. Potgieter, the man to beat with 1 round to go. Into the S1 novices then, and these are the guys that run the slightly bigger machines. We're talking about 300 smokers and 450 and sometimes 500 machinery. Tristan Moret, one of the stars of the show at the moment, in a number 6 with Vian Cowan, a little bit higher up the road from him inside of a number 5. As we start climbing the ladder, we do see the lap times coming up. Sean DeSantos was running a number 4 spot as well, so he'll be happy to walk away with a bag full of points coming out of this round. The DeSanti, always supporting our Farm Jam format, no matter where, how or what we go racing on. For Dirk Ryan Fasaki, he gets himself into a number 3 spot, and we're going to see this guy challenge for top 3s in the championships as well. It's been an interesting season where everyone has started to really find and understand the new racing hair scramble format of the Farm Jams. Next year, we are bound to see record entries and smiling faces every single time we go out. The Viking that is Frans de Klerk for the Raceworks KTM squad, once again walking away with a top 3 finish. He is a consistent rider and tough to beat as well. Francois Moritz on the 780 gets his big win going on the season. He found the track absolutely prime for his liking, a good gate and a good flow throughout the event as well. Never really got jammed up too badly on the rocks, was able to make some good clean passes, and he saw the checkers to see the top step of the podium. So here have confirmation of the S1 novices. Francois Moritz ahead of the Viking de Klerk, Fasaki, DeSantos, Cowan and Moret as we move forward now into the amateurs. Amateur gate starting out with the small bikes, the S3s that gave us huge entries once again. The 910 of Vinny Labuskakny getting the charge going. Up the road from him was this kid, Jean-Andre Bosch, who has got that light touch on the bike. Reminds me very much of Airhard, Airtime Birkus, as he just dances the bike around. Up the road from him, running slightly faster pace on the 444, was Devin Peterson. Sun's out, guns out. He didn't put an arm down, and he didn't put a foot wrong throughout the day as well. He was dicing things out the whole way through the day with Stephen Gunn, who eventually got the pass done and pulled the pin to get a number 3 spot on the event. Up the road and into a number 2 spot then, we're going to be talking about Hanru van der Sant. Very delicate touch on the bike as well. Fast as you like in the lowlands. And a lovely, rangy, tall lad. The rocks were no issue for him. He had 4-wheel drive with the tyres and the feet on the ground. For the S3 amateurs though, the win was all about the C94. This guy runs eye-wateringly fast pace. In fact, possibly able to even run with some of the pros when you check out his lap times. Jacques Oosthuizen on the C94, just dominating this category right now. Oosthuizen then on top on the S3 AMs ahead of Van der Sant, with the gun firing down there in a number 3 ahead of Pieterse, Bosch and Labuschagne. Climbed the ladder then into the S2s. Donovan Labuschagne into a number 6, but Anru Mostert, the brother of Catherine, we've seen this kid climb just 2 seasons ago out of the 85s, and now he is running the numbers. 5th place for him. Justin Robert had a great day at the office for the Robert co-crew, and he walked away with another rock-solid top 5. A 4th place for Justy. Really getting his form going in the second half of the season. Dwayne Gerber was the man to beat a little bit further up the road, but he didn't hammer the nail. He didn't drop the rest of the field too hard. He was solid and consistent. In fact, the S2s giving us some very close finishes when we checked out the lap times come the end of play. Gerber taking a number 3 spot, beating out on James de Toy. James de Toy then hammering the nail, rocking and rolling out there on the Roost KTM, running the 350 format. Everyone telling us for the last couple of seasons the 350 is the ultimate machine. Can run the high speed and the rocks. And de Toy was a walking advert for just how well it can be ridden. His good buddy Evan Wessels was just a smidge better though. Wessels, also another rider, so close to making the jump up into the pro categories. Perfect setup on his machine. Enough hydration and nutrition. And fresh as a daisy come the flag. Wessels then on top, beating out de Toy and Gerber, with Justin Robert getting one of his highest finishes of the season in a number 4. A lot of podiums coming in for Robert late in the season, ahead of Mostert and Labuschagne. And the S1 AMs giving us the big dogs as well. Wiley Harrington, one of his lowest finishes of the season. He had issues on the day. He had to drop down to a number 5 spot. Arno van der Merwe was up there inside of a number 4, rocking out another kid coming out of Rubine Racing. Every single race we go to, we've got a new rider stepping up onto the big squad. Jonathan Gumley ran enough pace to get himself onto the box with a number 3 ride, and that's going to set things up nicely. Up the road though, number 2 spot going to Michael van Heerden. These are the guys that are desperate to get the points on the plate. These are the guys that rock out and race out with us at every single round of the championship. The long game, as it's known. It was tough in the rocks come the end of the day. With so much of the dust and dirt getting dragged across, they were like ice. But for Andrea Casillo, it was no problem whatsoever. 1 or 2 little fallovers, but everyone suffering as the little holes became big holes around the rocks. No one had a clean run up the mountains, but as long as you didn't lose too much time, you could get the rewards. The 800, once again, seeing the checkers in the S1 AMs. Casillo beating out on Van Heerden, Gumley, van der Merwe and Harrington. Harrington needs the hurry up at round number 5 to get himself going. For the Masters category, riding out of the Subaru Now Sprayed squad, the Juice. Stassen walking away with a number 6 ride this time around. Very nearly got the whole shot, but got boxed out. And then a couple of big fallovers and problems in the rocks, dropping him down to a number 6. Martin Poole, the multitask rider, good at the flatlands, good at the rocks, good at pretty much everything, has one of his best farm jam events, taking out a number 5, robbing some valuable points from a couple of the championship riders. For the Rubine Racing squad, Ernst Slabbert getting a good run of form going. 4th place for him. He'd have liked to taste the top 3 steps of the podium, but 4th place on a track that didn't suit his high-speed riding style. He'll be happy to simply consolidate his numbers in the championship. Up the road, though, was the crazy that is Rudy Kavina. He is getting super fast. Loves this kind of terrain. Very aggressive when it comes to elbows up racing, and he managed to box his way and smash up into a number 3 ride. Kavina starting to become a big threat on the championship as well with his 3rd place. Pierre Smit was up there taking one of his highest ever Masters finishes as well. So a track that definitely suited his style. 1 or 2 problems for the rest of the field, but Pierre Smit making hay while the sun was shining. And a standout ride. But it's Captain Kirk, Sean Kirk. He has found the new format of Farm Jam right up his alley. Good enough on the high-speed stuff, immaculate when it comes to the tech riding. And on the mountains, he was pulling time and a half out of every single rider. He is the man to beat. Another win extends his championship lead. Kirky on top once more, ahead of Smitty, Kavina, Slabbert, Poole and Stassen. Watch out, because we are heading now to the final round. Let's see if Kirk can have the perfect season. For the seniors, we had good numbers on the gate as well. They were the 5th category to go out the queue, so not too much dust to deal with. Hilton DeBrain walking away with the number 6. Up the road from him was the 470 of PJ Roth, who got himself into the sweet spot of the top 5. Craig Gregory, so cool to see Gregory back into Farm Jam racing. Used to be one of the stars when we were doing the FJX series some 5 seasons back, and I'm pretty sure he is still on the same Yamaha. Up the road from him was Andre Stander. Stander, also a game player. He has been in the championship, so he's got a ton of points on the plate, and another top 3 will see him running strong numbers, arriving at the final round in a good position. The top 2 battle, a big story where we saw Andre Mostert getting his groove on. Mostert, obviously the dad of Catherine and Andrew, just loves to be out here racing whatever he can get his hands on. He found the track very much to his liking as well. A perfect mixture of tech and fast, enough time to relax and enough time to make up time on the rocks if you could find that sweet spot and the hookup. But the win, and a new win on the tour as well for the seniors. One of the older Husqvarnas, before they went white, they were yellow. So the flying banana of the 846, Brad Stannett, a new man on top. Great to see some new blood coming into the championship in the closing stages of the tour. With the loss of the mid-season round, the 4th round marks the penultimate of the series. So new man on top, Stannett gets his big win ahead of Mostert and Stander, with Gregory, Roth and DeBrain slotting inside of the top 6. The championship hasn't been decided. It will go down to the wire. For the S3 Pros, small numbers. They actually were combined into the S2 gate as well, but they're scoring for points as well in the championship. S3 Pros, Thorne Blake gets a number 2 spot going. He'll be happy with that as well. And up the road from him was Renier Kotze. Kotze is so fast on this kind of terrain, and in a way, he benefited from going out of the gate with the S2 Pros. It pulled his socks up, and it stretched him away from his championship rival, Thorne Blake. Renier Kotze will be very happy with how the day ran for him. A win and an extension in the championship. And then straight out into the S2 Pros. The majority of these riders running 350 4-stroke machines or 250 smokers. Tyler DeBrain, the styler, was out there in a number 6. Big Mig De Silva taking a number 5. Not his kind of terrain, but 5th shows that he's able to turn his hand to whatever he has to. For Bernard Besadenhout, riding out of the Vance Racing Husky squad, he is now gelling perfectly with that 250 4-stroke machine after so many years on a smoker. Brendan Kotze, the big dude, had to super dig hard, muscling his machine up and over all the rocks and terrain. He loves it, high speed and flat out, but he's powerful enough to just muscle his way up and over the rocks where he has to. The time he was making up on the flatlands, he was losing on the rocks, and it was Vernon Nordier who was actually benefiting every single time. Nordier would stretch it out down at the beach. Nordier would climb up on the rocks. Nordier's good at the flat out stuff as well. He does like to rock out on that 250 smoking machine. Now running his own racing program as well, and something has clicked in the guy. Cool to see him getting out there and rocking his way to a number 2 spot. He's going to be a threat to watch out for, but on the gate, it is all about this guy, Jean Niebuhr, just almost unstoppable when it comes to S2 racing coming out of the Farm Jam Championship. He does do a lot of off-season work, getting his technical riding going. He loves to go fast and flat out, but he says, I need to work on my rock riding. He's clearly done that in the early part of the season and the mid-season gaps that we've had. You can just see as he tackles the rocks, feet up, almost Jarvis style. Takes some funky lines as well to get it going. But once again, another category win for Jean Niebuhr and the Rubine Racing Squad. He is off the front of this championship in a big way. So confirmation of the S2 Pro category going to Niebuhr ahead of Nordea, Kutzer, Besaidenote, De Silva and De Bruyn. And in the S3 Pros, Kutzer ahead of Blake. The final category going out for the big bangers, the S1 Pros. Fastest dudes on the track by far. Carl Niebuhr getting it done inside of a number 6, muscling the big 450 wherever he needs to go. Shane Nienaber, who was running good pace in the early stages, credited with one of his highest finishes ever as well, with a number 5, with Jaco Smith just up the road, impressing a lot of people with his speed on this terrain, taking a number 4 spot. Up the road then, it was going to be all about the pinners, the crazy kids, coming off a great ride just over a month ago at round number 3. Round number 4, Stormful Yun on the Vans Racing Husqvarna 250 gets it going once again. 3rd place, and he'll be happy with his form there as well. Lost a little bit of time in the rocks, but not too much. 3rd place showed that his pace and form is there once again. The dice out front was a 2-way split. In the early running, it was all about the Devastator, Devin Smith and Ryan Peltzer. On lap number 2, the pin was pulled and Peltzer hit the front. The Devastator having to settle for a number 2 spot, and these are the guys dicing it out for the championship as well. Devin Smith, who took all the wins in the early part of the season, now starting to have to get his elbows up every single time he goes out. Peltzer, this was incredible to watch as well. Peltzer, after he made the pass on the Devastator, was able to start pulling out and gapping. By the end of play, Ryan Peltzer was something like 2.5 minutes out front. The reason for that? Peltzer has an incredible background in racing cross-country, off-roads, as well as enduros and extreme enduros. So when it came to the rocks, there was no one faster, and on the flatlands, he was so close to the speed of Devin Smith that it was not a factor. Ryan Peltzer now climbs and makes this a big championship dice as we head to the final round. Confirmation then of Peltzer on top ahead of the Devastator. Those two are going to take this down to the wire. A 3rd place for Stormful Yun cements his 3rd place in the points ahead of Smith, Nienaber and Niebuhr. After the race, we went out into the pits to meet and greet our friends in Farm Jam land. Ryan, you've been looking for a big breakout win in 2021. I said this was going to be a little bike track, and you delivered. Start to pull the numbers.
Yeah, today was really good. Mix of everything on the track. I think one of the best Farm Jam tracks I've ridden. Really had a lot of fun today.
At the previous round, you were good in the mountains there, but yet the dust was so bad. Didn't look like it was so bad this time around.
There was dust. It was just a different kind of dust, more open, so the wind was blowing. Much better.
What do you think of the Farm Jam coming down to the dam? First time we've raced by water for a long time.
Yeah, when I got here, I thought it was going to be much faster. It proved me wrong. It was really like a track, and yeah, really had fun.
Moving up in the overalls as well. 1 round of Farm Jam to go. Getting tight now.
I'm not really sure where I'm lying, but I'm looking forward to the last one.
Dev, you had to go at it. I mean, you got smoked by the little bikes at the last one, and you got smoked by a little bike this time, but 2nd place will still keep you in the hunt.
Yeah, the track was amazing. Yeah, there was a lot of rocks and lurkers, but with my Shock Logic suspension, it was just nice.
And dicing with Ryan, you guys look like you got some respect for each other out there.
Yeah, he's fast. He's fast.
What about the championship? Because we've got 1 round to go. It's getting tight.
I'm going to practice more, and hopefully I do better last one.
Carl, I mean, you've been one of the Johnny-come-latelys for the Tour and the Farm Jams, but I know you're loving it. You battled with navigation today, let's call it that.
Yeah, it was tough out there. It was fast, it was dusty, some rocks, some navigation. but bloody awesome. One for the books, huh? Very good, very good.
How was the race, man?
Not too bad, eh? Just very rocky.
Is it?
And road without back brakes, but pushed forward to get to the end.
Nice. What did you think of the track?
It was nice, very turny. That I liked a lot. But I must say, Leon stepped it up with the rocks today.
Nice, man. Nice.
That's a toughie, eh?
Is it?
That was a tough one.
What did you...
Leon, I must be honest with you. Leon doesn't need mountains to stuff us up, eh?
For sure. Made it a tough one out there.
No, it was a busy day, eh?
Yeah. And the venue, what do you think
No,
of
the venue's perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, perfect venue. Lots of rocks.
It was a lot of fun. The start is really nice. The crossings, that big river crossing with a lot of rocks, that was really fun. But the mountain here at the back, I think that broke a few people's back.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
and what a venue, eh?
It was really nice. It was a good venue. It's nice riding next to the dam. Yeah, you don't get that every day.
How's the race?
That was pretty awesome.
What do you
My
think?
first farm jam, so
Oh, is it? Awesome.
yeah, had a really good time.
Nice.
First lap was hard because of all the dust, but once you got clear air and a lot of different terrain, rocks, flat out sections, through the trees, 1 or 2 lie downs and have a little rest on the side.
Sure.
But it was a good event, I really enjoyed it.
Will you be back for the next one?
Oh yes, I'm going to be back for the next
Awesome, man.
Okay.
Okay, have a good one.
Thanks.
Good. How was the race?
Oh, it was awesome.
Is it?
Yeah, no, it was awesome technical stuff.
Lekker, man.
No, the rocks were fun and yeah, it was amazing.
What would you say was the best part of it?
Best part of it, I would say, has to be this deal right here with the rocks. It's just an awesome challenge. It was really amazing.
Good, good. How was the race?
Just hectic. It was very, very technical stuff.
Alright, and what would you say was your best part of the track?
Most probably the river crossings, definitely not the rock climbing.
Cooling down a bit, rather.
Yes.
Tell me about your day, dude. How was Farm Jam for you?
It was very nice, a real nice route, but I'm totally unfit at the moment, so I struggled.
We sometimes see you roll out the gas. How was it on the rocks, man?
It worked well. This is actually a beta.
Is it?
But
I've had it wrong all these years.
but I would have preferred to have had my IT here. It would have worked better in the rocks.
This is the face of someone who has just finished. How was Farm Jam for you, man?
Fun, technical, love the routes. The dam a little bit sticky, but we got through.
Yeah, you find those slick spots that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Tell me about the heat out there. You look like you might need a couple of drinks to catch yourself up.
Yeah. Maybe a Beer's
Yo, Live X. G-Man, what's the craziest thing you filmed out there today?
It's got to be the water today, buddy. It's been fantastic. Very, very hot, but it's been awesome, man. It's been great.
Kev the Kid?
I would have to say the rock climbing, eh? A lot of craziness out there.
You have to pick anyone up or what?
I did help a couple of people up, yeah, but didn't stop filming though. That's how we do it.
Thanks, lads. Appreciate the work.
Hallo?
Ja.
How are you? Hoe gaan het? Hoezo? Ik wil er net iets van, man.
And that's it from Farm Jam round number 4. We get ourselves ready for the final event at the beginning of November at a brand new venue. Watch the space. It's going to be a banger to round out what has been an amazing 2021 championship. This Farm Jam racing action was brought to you by Vans Racing, and Subaru Nelspruit.
So with Farm Jams, what will be now known as the penultimate round of the championship, because of the lockdown in the middle of the season, they decided to just keep it down to their 5-round championship. 0 throwaways, guys, so every point counts. And when those entries do open towards the end of October, I'll be the first to let you guys know, and you can get those entries in, and we'll see you at what will be a brand new venue for Farm Jam. That's going to be the 6th of November. Right now, we get ourselves ready, and the LiveX boys, and especially I need to take a high five here to Ivan. He has been bleeding for you guys, doing a lot of the edit work. Gareth doing a lot of the helping out there as well. So hats off to the LiveX lads. They are absolutely killing it at the moment. Thanks, boys. Keep up the good work. Next week, we go forward and we'll be showing you the support class for the motorcycle category, and we'll start getting ready to go forward into October. October is going to be super busy. Lots of cool projects. Watch out for the next CW Cycle Works suspension tips from Justin, and we'll be getting up close and personal with one of the top pro teams. Watch the space and you'll find out. Stay tuned, and I hope you guys are enjoying everything that we're doing here at Hollywood Hills in association with LiveX. Cheers, guys.